Y'all. So my name is Ronee. I have a 2-year-old son. He just turned 2 October 29th. And I am making this video because I simply just want to finally open up about his skin condition. So he has a skin condition called benign cephalic hystosis. They did go ahead and diagnose him with that after he done a biopsy. Around 6 to 7 months old, he went ahead and completed a biopsy on his face where they took a piece of his skin and they went ahead and shipped it off to a lab. There were 3 derms that looked over it, and so that's what they deemed it as. So the hard pill to swallow about it for me was that there is no resolution, there's no medication to treat it. They are deemed self-healing lesions, so there's nothing, no creams, no medications, or anything that you can put on it to make it go away. It simply just goes away on its own. Now, because this condition is very rare and it does not have a lot of documentation behind it, a lot of research behind it, it's hard to say when it will go away. The few people that have had it, they said they have went away around the age of 4, sometimes 6. So we still have some time to see how that goes. The process is they say it's supposed to get lighter and then they eventually fade away. But I'm making the video because I want to talk about the emotion behind it. It's like a lot of people, I don't think, or they realize how rude that they are. When we are in public, it is really like every time that we're getting ready to go to the store, we have an errand to run, I physically and mentally have to be prepared because I know we are going to get a whole lot of stares. And sometimes it's not just stares. You would have people literally stop you and they're like, hey, does he have eczema? What's wrong with his face? What are you doing about his face? What are you putting on his face? And it's just like, that's very rude. Me being who I am, I would never walk up to anyone, whether they're with child or just speaking to someone, another adult. I'm not going to walk up to you and invade your personal space and assume that I know what's going on with your physical appearance. I'm not going to do that. But when that does happen, it is very, very uncomfortable. I am a very shy person already, so it kind of puts me on the spot. And you can't really explain that to someone in 0.5 seconds. People, when they're coming up to you and they're asking, truthfully, they really don't want to know unless you're saying something as simple as eczema. That's what people always like to deem it as, so that's what they go to. And speaking on eczema, I also want to make the statement of moms, whether you're a new mom, a 3-4 parent mom, it does not matter. Always trust your judgment. And I say this because when my son started showing these lesions on his face, I already knew something was wrong. Because the lesions, they're really hard to describe. They're raised above the skin, but they're also smooth. It's not like a bump that it has like an end point or entry point. Nothing like that. It's really hard to describe, which I will eventually show pictures of where it started, how it's come along so far, and just take you guys along with me to see when it will go away. But with the eczema, well, what they were trying to deem it as eczema, I seen the lesions. I kept going to his pediatrician. I'm like, hey, something isn't right. Something is going on, because usually, when you're newborn or a couple months old child, they have like eczema or the little neonatal bumps. They'll tell you put hydrocortisone cream on it, which of course I did. It wasn't going away, wasn't budging. I'm like, something is wrong. That's not what this is. Of course, they tried to put it like, you're a first-time mom, you're overreacting. We've seen it a million times. Listen to us, this is what it is. So eventually, of course I did, because I can't really do much more about it than what they're giving me the ability to. I'm not a doctor, unfortunately. I'm not a nurse, anything like that. So take the medication that they were trying to give. Now, we went through a lot of medications. Again, I will input pictures of those medications and the names as well. But we went through about 3 or 4, and like I said, nothing happened. They all stayed the same. It was pointless, really. So once we got done taking all the medication, my pediatrician finally said, okay, I will refer you to a dermatologist. And I was just so thankful. I'm like, yes, thank you. That's what we needed. I know that something else is wrong. So we went ahead. We scheduled the derm appointment. We got there. Of course, the dermatologist immediately, which it makes you feel uncomfortable when you are a black woman, black mom, anything like that, because the first thing that they told me is, you're using grease on it. And so, of course, you know, again, me being a first-time mom, I am taking it in. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's what that is. Maybe the grease is like, it made this happen, you know. But at the same time, it's really hard to just say, okay, well, quit using products on the head of a child that has really thick hair, the scalp gets dry, itchy. You can't really just not put anything on it. But I went ahead, I listened, I stopped using anything on his head. I think that I was using Mustela, if I say that right, Mustela products. So we started using that. You know, it was really a really bad experience because he ended up kind of almost getting cradle cap because his hair was so dry all the time. To where I was just like, you know, we had to go back because I'm like, this isn't working. I have to put something on his head. So yeah, we went ahead, we scheduled another appointment with the derm, and it was like a follow-up, and he went ahead and he said like, hey mom, we're gonna have to do a biopsy. So of course I was freaking out because I'm like, biopsy, I know that you have to take it off of his face because of course at this point the lesions were not spreading anywhere else, it was just on his face. So it was a really hard decision to make, but I just went ahead and I made it then because I'm like, you know, he's not at toddler stage too much to where he would possibly rip off the stitches or mess with the bandages. He still somewhat like sits around and chill, you know, he'll crawl a little bit, but I figured it'll be okay because he wouldn't mess with this spot at this point in time. So we went ahead, we agreed to the biopsy. When we went there, they did take a chunk of skin. It was right by his lip. And then from that point, you know, it was really bad. Like, I closed my eyes because I was holding him. And I closed my eyes because I seen the amount of blood. And then I seen how long the skin was that they took. Like, because the instrument that they used, it goes all the way into the skin, like, not to where it touches the inside of your jaw, but it took about a long piece of skin, like about this much. And I was just like, I can't handle that, no. And he was screaming. It was really bad. The healing process, it was okay as well. He would have some days, of course, where he just didn't want me to clean it and he would rip the band-aids off, but you know, we did survive that. He's finally healed from that. You can still see the scar a little bit, but not really when the lesions are there. So that was, again, I like maybe 7-8 months, I'm not sure. I think it was like 7 or 8 months. I do have pictures of that as well. Again, I will be posting all the documentation that I have because I would love for someone, you guys, whoever's watching, to go on this journey with me. Again, because it can get very emotional. It's a lot of times where I kind of like, I hate to sound selfish, but I look at him and I just feel so bad for him, and sometimes I mourn just seeing like his face when it was clear nothing was on it, you know. But of course I know that my son is beautiful inside and out, regardless of what's on his outside appearance. I know that he's beautiful. He's a wonderful person. It's kind of hard when you're dealing with the world and the world already judging a 2-year-old, so it's kind of like, wow. But yeah, so that is just like my little introductory video. Again, my reasoning for making this video, starting this channel, doing this TikTok is because, again, I want whomever is watching me to just follow along, see his progression. I want, you know, to see how long that it takes to go away, if it goes away, just the progress of his skin, because I'm tired of holding it in, and sometimes, you know, you get self-conscious about posting your kid because someone is going to like judge his skin and say you need to do this or try this and that when it's already been tried, it's already been done, and they just simply don't know his condition. So I'm finally over that, and I'm ready to post him as I should, with no filters, with no fixing his face because he is beautiful. And if you would like to follow along with me on this journey, I would definitely love for you guys to do so. Again, whomever is watching, whether it's one person or 30 people, I appreciate it. And bye.